The Titanic, the so-called unsinkable ship. On April 15, 1912, it struck an iceberg and sank into the icy Atlantic. More than 1,500 lives were lost in one of the greatest maritime disasters in history. But behind this tragedy are secrets, strange coincidences, and untold stories that most people have never heard. In this video, we'll uncover the most unbelievable facts about the Titanic that will leave you speechless. The unsinkable myth. The Titanic was famously called unsinkable. But did you know this wasn't exactly true? In reality, the word unsinkable appeared in just one promotional brochure by the White Star Line, and newspapers repeated it until it became legend. The ship was designed with watertight compartments, which gave engineers confidence. But when the iceberg tore through 5 compartments, the system failed. The Titanic wasn't unsinkable, it was vulnerable. Warnings ignored. On the very day of the disaster, Titanic's radio operators received at least 6 iceberg warnings from other ships. But the messages were ignored or delayed. In fact, one warning was dismissed because the operator was too busy sending passenger messages. Just hours later, disaster struck. Some historians believe if those warnings had been taken seriously, the Titanic might never have sunk. The richest man on board among Titanic's passengers was John Jacob Astor IV, one of the richest men in the world. His fortune in today's money would be over $2 billion. He was traveling with his young wife, who survived, but Astor did not. When he realized women and children were prioritized, he stepped back and reportedly told her, "The sea is calm. You'll be safe." His body was later recovered, carrying gold, cash, and a pocket watch stopped at the moment of his death. A novel predicted the tragedy in 1898. To 14 years before the Titanic sank, a novel called Futility described an enormous ship called the Titan. It was also labeled unsinkable, and in the story, it struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic in April, killing thousands due to too few lifeboats. The similarities are chilling. Was this just coincidence, or a strange case of life imitating art? Why the Titanic broke in half. For decades, survivors debated whether the Titanic broke in half before sinking. It wasn't confirmed until Robert Ballard discovered the wreck in 1985. The ship had indeed snapped in two. Today, experts believe the brittle steel, the ship's immense weight, and the speed of flooding caused the break. The two halves now lie 2,000 feet apart on the ocean floor. The band played on as chaos unfolded. Titanic's band continued to play music on deck. Survivors remembered hearing hymns and cheerful songs until the very end. All 8 musicians perished, but their bravery inspired the world. For many, their music was the last sound they heard before sinking into the freezing sea. The forgotten survivors. Out of 2,200 people on board, only around 700 survived. But what many don't know is how their lives unfolded after. Some faced lifelong trauma. Others became storytellers, retelling the nightmare for decades. The last survivor, Melvina Dean, was just 2 months old when she was rescued. She passed away in 2009, nearly a century later, still carrying the memory of the Titanic. Modern discoveries today. The Titanic rests nearly 12,500 feet below the ocean surface. Expeditions reveal that bacteria are slowly eating the wreck, and scientists predict the ship may disappear completely within a few decades. Advanced 3D scans are now preserving its image forever, ensuring that even as the wreck fades, its story will live on. The Titanic was more than just a ship. It was a dream, a tragedy, and a warning about human pride. Over a century later, its story continues to haunt us, not just as history, but as a reminder of how fragile we really are against nature. If you found these secrets fascinating, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to FactSpark, and hit the bell for more incredible stories from history and beyond.